it real hard. Like, I don't care what it takes. Like, whatever you want to do, let's go. I'm not jerking off, though. If she, like, jerked off for me, I'm going to be like, no, you jerk off for me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that leads to the next question I was going to ask is, away from porn, because porn and masturbation, they seem to go hand in hand, but they don't always, because sometimes you don't even need the porn, you just want to masturbate. What if you want to have sex with your partner and not tonight, I got a toothache, or whatever it is that's going on with her or him, and so it's like, hey, you know what, I just feel like just rubbing one out. Are you comfortable, or should you be comfortable enough to just handle that while she's laying right there, or does it have to be? Do you have to go in the bathroom or do be somewhere, private and sneaky? Like how what's the proper etiquette for doing that, dealing with that situation?
I think whatever your kink is, I think that's like the thing that makes it attractive is that you can go do it and it's like naughty and bad and no one knows you're doing it. If you're like doing it right in front of somebody, I don't think like the interest would be there unless you like people watching you masturbate, which there are plenty of people that like are into that. Bo knows one in particular. But it's just,
Wait, what?
I don't know.
I personally know one in particular.
Wait, what?
Yeah. The one you always fucking vouch for.
Oh, Louis C.K., one of the greatest comedians of all time. Yeah, he loves doing that shit. It's a problem.
Yeah, I heard about that. So what do you do, Bo? Not to say this is hypothetical, but would you be comfortable just, taking care of business right there in front of your partner, or do you have to go to the bathroom or the garage?
Well, I just, in front of your partner. I've jerked off in front of somebody before, but it was, it's like we were kind of both doing it. Like, it was like the person I was in a relationship with. Like, they were doing their thing, I was doing my thing. And that wasn't what we normally did, but it was just fun in the moment. I came on her tits. That was kind of cool. But no, I mean, it's like, okay, it's funny, though, because I want to get into something else, but that's not what we're talking about right now. But yeah, it's just, it's always just weird. Like you gotta like, it's different when you masturbate and like you live by yourself, right? And you watch porn. It's a totally different experience than like, say, if you're like married and have a family living with you and you watch porn and stuff. Like, cause okay, so the situation, like if you have other people in the house, right? And they may not be there, right? You may be able to like actually jerk off, but like if other people are around, so you like got to turn the volume down, and then like you got to put on headphones if you want to hear anything. But then that's a catch-22 as well, because if you put on your headphones, you won't be able to hear somebody coming, and then they might actually see you coming,
and they might hear you coming, right?
Exactly. So it's I mean, there's way better masturbation experience if like there's nobody home, if there's like, even if there's nobody home, if just the possibility somebody could be walking in the door at any time still changes the experience than like, fuck, I'm just at home and there's nobody that's even possibly going to be home and stuff, and you fucking turn the bass up on the speakers and let that porn blare. You fucking start casting it to your big screen TV in the middle of your living room. Dogs are sitting there fucking looking at you like wondering what the fuck you're doing. I always wonder if my dogs are judging me. Like, my dogs seem to not care that I'm jerking off in front of them. I feel like I'm Louis C.K.'s dog.
Yeah, I would never do it. I don't think I would ever be comfortable enough to do that in front of somebody. Even my girlfriend, forget about it. I like what Dave said. It's like whatever's your kink, And I like what he said about, no, I'm not jerking off, because that's his thing, and this is my boundary. It's like, I'm not doing that. It's too awkward. Like, you're sitting there watching me. Like, I feel like I'm auditioning for something that I don't want to audition for. It's like we can do a lot of things if it's a prelude to something else, but that's not going to be that's not the whole meal. That could be the appetizer. Like, yeah, I'll rub it 3 times. Let's go. It's okay.
Or
but
like if
I don't
she's
know how
into
we got.
She's like sitting there spitting on it and telling you like, yeah, jerk that dick for me, baby. Yeah, fuck me. And she's just like, like spitting on it, all interested. Then you're gonna be like, okay, all right, you little freaky bitch, let's go. Like it's just.
I want to ask a question since we have Drew on the line and he's a hypnotist. All right, I ask a question and we're talking about masturbation. So these two things go. It's a little bit of a different subject, but these two things go hand in hand. Drew, as a hypnotherapist, have you ever heard of somebody being hypnotized to have an orgasm without even touching themselves? A hands-free orgasm, if you will.
Yeah, I heard of it. I did some reading on it too. Like, I don't think I could do it, but I'm still studying because that sounds really good.
So why can't I ever hypnotize the woman to love you forever? Like, if you want this ultimate command over people, and that's what I learned watching Grey's Anatomy, or not Grey's Anatomy. What's that fucking 50 Shades of Grey? So, like, this man, I mean, of course he had the money to back it up and do everything that he needed to do, and of course it's a fictional story, but that's real. Like, relationships are like that. I started researching, like, the contracts and things like that. If you are interested so much, like, maybe you can define that in your contract when you're talking to a woman like that, and if they're under, if they're the same thing, or you can get them interested in it, is that, the real thing about bondage and BDSM and stuff like that is the ultimate, control over the other person, but safely within their boundaries and stuff too. So you can talk like,
Dave,
you're responsible for the well-being of the girl, like her health, her body,
What does BDSM have to do with hands-free orgasms?
Because it's about the control. I'm just saying, like, in hypnotism and things like that, and what, that's like a sign for me of, like, you want to have this ultimate control over somebody or be able to help someone if they can't control it themselves. You want to master that control for yourself and for other people. And, like, if those are the things, if that's your kink and that's the thing that, like, makes you feel most alive and most attracted, like, the things that you need to search out and talk to with your partner is like, look, I'm a hypnotist. I'm going to hypnotize you to do some crazy shit. Are you into it? And she's like, fuck yeah, hypnotize me to do some shit. And then, like, you guys build on that and have that be what it is, since that's the thing that you love and care about and you do or study or are interested in. It has to be a thing where you, like, have it with another person if you want to, have a relationship and, do that too. But I don't know.
What you just said was way cooler than what I was talking about, all right? It was way less seedy than what I was talking about, all right? There are audio files, right? There's a community of people, there are audio files that you can listen to that are probably, 45 minutes and like 30 seconds long. And like you listen to them with your headphones and the girl talks to you and you fucking like go through like a trance, like hypnosis and stuff. And then like at the end of it, like if you do it right, you're supposed to be able to have a fucking orgasm without fucking touching yourself.
Oh.
And I will not either confirm or deny whether or not that has actually happened or that I have taken part in it.
I've never heard of that happening. Go
share
ahead,
the link on Facebook. Post that link on Facebook.
But what about what I said? I'm just curious your thoughts on that, how you feel.
Enough about you. What about me? So
that's what I'm talking about, Drew. Like, I want to know how you feel about what I was talking about, like the hypnotist, just that whole area.
I kind of got distracted. But what I think I heard was what the response that I had was that I don't think it's about controlling the other person. Like, if you hypnotize somebody to do that, it has to be something, thank you, that they want to do. I don't think hypnosis is about mind control, so I like what you said about having agreements with people. Like, I'm not that skilled a hypnotherapist to be able to make somebody do something that they don't want to already do. So I'm probably on the wrong page, though. What were you going to say, Jenny?
I was going to say that I've studied hypnotherapy too, and I think that's an excellent answer, Drew. I think hypnotherapy is suggestibility and suggestions while the person's in a relaxed state of mind with their subconscious mind forward. And so I think that, most people aren't going to be doing stuff that they don't want to do under hypnosis. Now, in hypnotherapy class, we did learn that there is a small percentage of people, I don't know what it is, 1 or less, percentage of people who have extreme trauma in their past, and sometimes when they go into hypnotherapy, they check out like they did when they had the trauma when they were a child. They just escape their body and they check out and they don't remember anything that's said, and they might do some things that they might not want to do. But again, these are people that have severe trauma, and if you look at MK Ultra a little bit, the government's doing, mind control stuff. That is they're not being nice like hypnotherapists and wanting you to quit smoking cigarettes. They're trying to control your mind. So I do think that there's a big world out there that they do try to get inside people's heads and fuck with it and control them, and then a large majority of people who really do want to help you quit smoking, lose weight, break your habits, things like that. Because hypnotherapy is a great skill, but you're right, someone could get in there. I was just talking today with one of my clients who wants to be a psychologist, and I was like, yeah, you can go to school and be a psychologist. I mean, your hands are kind of tied because it's an institution and they have a bunch of freaking rules and regulations. I go, but those rules and regulations are put in place for good reason. They had to be put in place because psychotherapists and psychologists were sexually abusing and manipulating their clients. So the state had to step in, this is a while back, and make regulations so that people messing with people's minds couldn't fuck with them, and so the patient had some protection. So yes, you can be malicious with any act, any modality, but I think most hypnotherapists, just like myself and Drew in our trainings, it's a more suggestibility. You're helping the people who aren't traumatized. You're helping a majority of the people get into their subconscious mind, and it's very helpful.
I need a hypnotherapist to suggest or help me get rid of my headaches I've been having. I've been having a headache for over a month now that won't go away. It kind of goes away, but it's still always there in the background, just annoying.
I think that's 5G and the virus.
It is?
I think it's fucking too.
It could be. Speaking of the virus, so like I said, I had to put it on mute because my mom called me, right? So both my parents were diagnosed with the coronavirus, right? About, I want to say about a month ago, right? So they were quarantined for, their quarantine was over, I think, April 20th. My dad's was the 15th, my mom's was the 20th.
Yeah.
And they got it because my mom had been, woo. She got off quarantine just enough time to buy some weed. But here's the thing, when they got off quarantine, now it was surprising and shocking because both my parents are in their low to mid 70s, right? So my dad had called me and he was coughing a fit beforehand, and I was like, Dad, I think you got the coronavirus. He was like, no, I got the flu. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, it sounds worse than the flu. He was like, nah, I just got the flu. I was like, Dad, are you watching the news? So they ended up getting that. So I went and visited my parents the day after their quarantine, right? And my mom just called me because she had to go back to the hospital for something else. She's been having health problems unrelated to the virus. But she just called to let me know that they tested her again for the virus, and she came up positive for having it, even though it was past her quarantine. So she was calling to let me know because I went and visited with them for a day and stuff, and now I just found out I might be dying.
Did she ever test negative after the quarantine?
What's that?
I think you said, are you going to die today?
No.
That was a good question. That's a good question. Do you think that she was negative at some point for the corona and re-caught it, or do you think she just was positive for that whole time and never got rid of it?
Yeah, I don't know, because that's the thing too. They just put them on quarantine for a certain amount of time. They didn't retest them before they get out of the quarantine. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, oh, well, your symptoms are